Imagine driving down a lonely country road in rural Kansas just after sunset. There are no city lights, no traffic, just miles of empty cornfields stretching toward the horizon. Eventually, the extreme isolation breaks. You arrive here at a small, quiet plot of land sitting silently beneath ancient trees, rising directly out of the darkness. Above those graves is the hollow, decaying stone shell of an abandoned church. Looking at it, this appears to be a perfectly ordinary forgotten graveyard. Yet according to a pervasive urban legend, this specific patch of dirt contains one of the 7 gateways to hell on earth. This sharp divide between the mundane physical setting and the sheer terror of the supernatural claims is exactly what makes the legend of Stull Cemetery so incredibly magnetic. The most prominent piece of local folklore claims that the devil physically visits the cemetery twice every year, arriving at midnight to cross between the underworld and the living. The stories describe a concealed subterranean staircase buried somewhere beneath the ruined floorboards of the church, trapping anyone who tries to descend. Over the years, these rumors expanded to include accounts of unexplained disappearances, strange lights cutting through the darkness, and shadowy figures slipping between the headstones. Decades of retelling these details turned a neglected piece of farmland into a consistent destination for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. The actual history of Stull offers a completely different reality. In the late 1800s, this was a small, active farming settlement. The stone church was built to serve those local worshippers it hosted. Sunday services and regular community gatherings completely devoid of any dark intent. As the decades passed, the town's population naturally declined. The congregation abandoned the church, and the harsh Kansas weather slowly collapsed the roof, leaving only empty, hollowed-out walls. The gravestones surrounding those ruins belonged to the local farmers and founding families who worked the land, entirely disconnected from occult rituals. The true tragedy of Stull is simple economic abandonment. It left behind an empty physical shell, providing a blank canvas perfectly suited for imagination to fill. The gateway mythology is a relatively modern invention. Historians have tracked the explosion of these rumors back to the 1970s. The legend grew sequentially. Localized word-of-mouth rumors bled into sensationalized newspaper articles, which eventually provided the material for national television broadcasts. Throughout this massive media exposure, no physical evidence has ever materialized. There are no police records of people vanishing at the site, and multiple archaeological surveys confirm there is no hidden stair beneath the earth without documented facts to stop it. The legend replaced the actual history of the site through constant repetition. Abandoned buildings naturally trigger and deep primal unease. They violate our inherent expectations by showing us spaces built for human safety and community, completely surrendering to decay. When a visitor enters a location they already believe to be dangerous, the brain enters a state of hyperarousal, scanning the environment for threats in this state. Perfectly normal stimuli, like wind moving through dry grass, are immediately processed by the brain as supernatural danger. The visitors who report terrifying experiences here aren't necessarily lying. Their minds are actively constructing the exact horror they expected to find. This psychological feedback loop drew thousands of nighttime thrill seekers to Stull, resulting in decades of trespassing and severe vandalism across the private property. You can see the damage etched directly into the ordinary family headstones have been knocked over, cracked and shattered by the late-night crowds. Local law enforcement had to step in, strictly restricting access to the grounds to protect the remaining graves and shield local residents from the endless traffic. People hunting for a fictional supernatural evil ended up bringing real, measurable destruction to a sacred place of remembrance. Historians universally classify the stories as fake. The facts are entirely available. Yet the legend of Stull Cemetery refuses to fade from popular culture. The human mind prefers a structured, terrifying narrative over the quiet, boring reality of an empty farming town. The architecture of fear doesn't require evidence to take root, it only requires darkness and an isolated ruin. The reputation of Stull Cemetery has overtaken its physical reality, existing primarily as an idea shaped by collective fear. If you step into the dark, absolutely, expecting to find a monster, you will find one because the human mind is always willing to build it for you.